A case before the U.S. Supreme Court could set a precedent on parental rights and how they are recognized in public schools across the country. Parents in Montgomery County, Maryland sued the school board after they were denied to opt their children out of books with sexually explicit themes, including transgender ideology. Joining us now to discuss this is Defending Education's Director of Outreach, Erica Sansi. Good morning, Erica. Happy Friday.
Good morning, Jan.
The issue here is about, many say, religious liberty, not controlling curriculum, but having the choice to opt out of anything that could perhaps violate your religious rights and what you choose to teach your children at home. So tell us more about this case.
Yeah, this is definitely a religious liberty case. There's been a lot of misreporting, but these are a group of parents from Montgomery County. We actually saw Muslim, Orthodox, Jewish, Ethiopian Christian, non-denominational Christians, and Catholics all come together because they want the right to opt their children out of LGBTQ themed content in these early grades. We're talking preschool, kindergarten, first grade. And many people, I think, wrongly assume that these topics, if touched on at all with children, would be sort of in that sex ed, health, family life bucket, which state law allows parents to opt their children out of. But in this case, the school district is saying that these texts are part of their English language arts, and therefore that's the core curriculum, and they can't opt out. Now, an important thing to say is that earlier, when parents had objected, the school district was allowing opt-outs, but then because so many parents were taking advantage of it, because understandably they found these materials inappropriate for these young children, the school has said, sort of like in a sudden change overnight, this is not manageable. We cannot administrate this number of opt-outs, and they just pulled the opt-out option completely.
Because it was inconvenient to them. That's why they did this, because
they said that now again, that's what they said, that they could not administer it. It was too unwieldy to administer. So what the case is about is getting that right reinstated to be able to opt their children out of these materials. Now, if I had a magic wand, I think these materials are totally inappropriate and shouldn't be there anyway. But that is not what the case is about. The case is about these parents saying, we're not asking you to change it or get rid of the books. We're telling you that we want the right to have our children removed when that content is being discussed.
Yeah, and it sounds like the Supreme Court could side with the parents in this case, which could really set a huge precedent across the country. Meantime, your organization did file an investigation and found universities and colleges all across the country raised more than $300 million to fund DEI programs. $300 million? How are they raising all this money?
Well, we all get those emails, right, from colleges or from other places where we've, attended in the past. So now imagine that you have a big campaign after the killing of George Floyd, and you use that event to raise money from your alumni and from your alumni boards. And then we also see a lot of outside foundations that are giving money to schools. I would say, again, not everything in this is necessarily bad, but the problem is many times people are giving money to things that they don't realize are then being used to behave in illegal ways on campus. So if the money goes to a program that is then limited in terms of participation by race, for example, well, now that money is being used to administer a program that violates federal law. So it's not that everything in here is bad. That, they sort of play on the whole, like, be part of, social justice and compassion and empathy, and don't you want to be part of making the world better? But hidden in the details often are pieces that are not legal in terms of including and excluding people in programs based on their race. So,
right. And that's a whole lot of money that's being raised there. As we mentioned, more than $300 million. All right, Defending Education's Director of Outreach, Erica Sansi. Always great to see you. Hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.
You too. Good to see you.